What's going on, everybody? My name is Tyler, and today is day number 18 of my 32 straight days previewing the 32 NFL teams ahead of the 2020 NFL season. If you haven't watched the first 17 episodes, the whole playlist is down below, as always, in the description. Today, we'll be looking at the Los Angeles Chargers, and I'm not really sure where I am with the Chargers in 2020. One day, I'm feeling high on them. The next day, not so much. Last year, they finished with the worst record in the AFC West, going 5-11. Justin Herbert looks to be the quarterback of the future for this team, as they took him sixth overall, in the draft this past offseason. Will he start week 1? Who knows? That will be up to head coach Anthony Lynn to decide between Herbert or Tyrod Taylor, a veteran quarterback who has played under Lynn in the past. I think it will most likely be Taylor, given the craziness of this offseason. But I wouldn't be surprised if Herbert comes in at around week 11, right after their bye. But wait and see on that. They will have some nice pieces around whoever starts at quarterback, Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Hunter Henry, barring that they all stay healthy. The defense is what will carry this team, however. As of all the 4 defenses in the AFC West, the Chargers by far have the best, in my opinion, with Joey Bosa, who they just locked up for a massive deal, Linval Joseph and Melvin Ingram on the defensive line, rushing the passer, first-round pick Kenneth Murray and Denzel Perryman controlling the middle of the field at linebacker, and then the secondary, which I am most high on, Chris Harris Jr., who they got in the offseason from Denver, so it weakens their division foe and strengthens their secondary, has a lot left in the tank, in my opinion. Casey Hayward Jr. is a solid corner as well. And then they have Derwin James at safety, who in his rookie season balled out. Last year, he had a slow year, dealt with a lot of injuries, but he's arguably a top 5 safety in football, in my opinion. But it will all be on Lynn to lead this team back to the playoffs. It's going to be tough. They got Denver, who looks to be much improved, and Kansas City, who's the defending Super Bowl champions. I don't think they'll make it to the playoffs this year, just because of all the competition they face. But there are some games looking at their schedule where it can go either way. They could win or lose them. So let's look right at it. I'll leave the full schedule with my win-loss projections down below in the description. They opened the year at Cincinnati against the Bengals. That's an obvious win there. The Bengals look to be, they're not building for success this year. Then they take on Kansas City, who I have the Chargers losing to twice this year. They'll lose their first matchup, obviously, at home versus Kansas City, and then they'll lose their Week 17 matchup on the road against the Chiefs. Week 3 versus Carolina, that's a win, but once again, it could go either way. One reason I think they will win this game, the Chargers, is because they're playing at home. Week 4 at Tampa Bay, that's a tough one against a really solid offense. That would be a great matchup to see the offense of Tampa Bay versus the defense of LA. Week 5 at New Orleans, so that's a tough stretch right there. You go at Tampa Bay, then at New Orleans, 2 really high-powered offenses. If they lose the Tampa Bay game, I don't see them winning the New Orleans Saints game at all. If they beat Tampa week 4, it wouldn't come as a surprise. They'll ride that momentum into week 5, but it will be a slugfest both weeks. Week 6, they take on the Jets at home. That's a definite win, in my opinion. Week 7, we could possibly see Tua Tagovailoa taking on Justin Herbert, the guys who were taking 5 and 6 for Miami for Tagovailoa. Chargers taking Herbert at 6. At Miami, I do think the Chargers will win this one, regardless of who's starting a quarterback. Week 7 versus Jacksonville, I flip-flopped on this one a couple times. Ultimately, I have decided to go with the Jaguars in this case, just because I think there's something about this team in the Chargers there. They're going to get streaky. They're going to win a lot of games. They're going to win a few games in a row, then they're going to lose a few games. This stretch from Week 8 to Week 13, which includes their Week 10 bye, Week 14, I have the Chargers losing 6 straight games. Week 9 versus the Raiders. Week 10, there's their bye week. Week 11, they go to Denver. Week 12, they go to Buffalo. Week 13, they play at home versus New England. And Week 14, they play at home versus Atlanta. So those 6 straight games, 7 weeks total, I have the Chargers losing all of those games. And that's what ultimately derails their chance. Because prior to that stretch, they're 4 and 4 in my projections. So there's definitely a possibility where there's 4 and 3. Excuse me, I had to look at the numbers. They're 4 and 3, so there's a definite possibility where they could just creep up into the wild card spots of the AFC. But losing 6 straight will definitely hurt your chances. 4 and 9 entering Week 15. I do think they'll beat Denver and Las Vegas in Week 15 and Denver in Week 16 to close out the year. But finally, Week 17, as I mentioned, they lose to Kansas City on the road. there's a lot of things that can go right or wrong with this team. Like they could definitely win against Jacksonville. They can definitely sweep the Raiders. They could definitely upset a team like the Buccaneers or the Saints or the Bills or the Patriots or the Falcons. I don't think they'll ever beat the Chiefs. They're not on that level yet. But the Chargers could definitely go 8-8. They could also go 4-12. Who really knows with them? So I have them penned in at 6-10. The 5 games I'm most excited for this team in 2020. First off, Week 2 versus the Chiefs. This could be a nice litmus test to see where the Chargers stack up for the future. Are they ready to compete right now or in 2021? Or do they have a few more years and have to continue to build? Because looks like Mahomes is going to be there for a long time in Kansas City. Chargers are going to have to dethrone the Chiefs very soon. Week 4 at Tampa Bay. Once again, that defense of LA versus the offense of Tampa Bay. Really competitive matchup. I hope it will be, and I definitely think it can, as long as Anthony Lynn draws up a nice game plan for their offense to run. Week 12 at Buffalo. 2 really solid defenses. I think this will be a low-scoring game, and it might come down to 1 or 2 possessions. And this might be a game where Herbert might be starting for the Chargers. We'll see what he's made out of against a really solid defense in Buffalo. Week 14 against the Falcons. Once again, a solid defense versus a really solid offense in LA versus Atlanta. I'm interested to see. This is the last game of that stretch where I think the Chargers will lose 6 straight. But the Chargers definitely have the opportunity to win right there. And finally, Week 16 versus Denver. I don't know. The Chargers and Broncos look to be competing for the future of the AFC West once the Chiefs dynasty kind of fiddles out and they can't pay all their guys. So you have Broncos with Drew Lock and their offensive weapons, Chargers with most likely Herbert and their offensive weapons. Who reigns supreme? This will be a nice opportunity to see how the Chargers stack up for 2021 and the future of the rest of this decade, really. The Chargers are also opening up a new stadium along with the Rams, so that will be interesting to see this year how that affects them, especially not having fans. I think if all the teams who might benefit the most from not having fans, it might be the Chargers. Like Melvin Gordon said a couple weeks ago, I think it was 2 months ago on a podcast. He said, playing it without fans, I'm used to it because I played for the Chargers or something along those lines. So maybe the Chargers could use this to their advantage, playing without fans. Obviously, their stadium for the last few years playing in LA, they played at the stadium of the LA Galaxy, the MLS team. Could barely hold 24,000 fans, I believe, somewhere around that mark, where the lowest attended football stadium, other than the Chargers for the past few years, or capacity-wise, I should say, is Soldier Field in Chicago, which is at 60,000. So Chargers might have an edge there, who knows, but it'll be a lot left to see. But let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Do the Chargers have a legitimate shot for the AFC West title, or are they continue building for 2021, 2022, so on and so forth? Next episode, we'll be looking at the Chargers' crosstown foes, the LA Rams. Stay tuned for that. Thank y'all so much for watching, and we will see you next time.